Cynthia Thompson. Thank you for being here with us.
My God.
Jesus.
You know, I kept hearing when you was giving her this word, I just kept hearing, it's already happening.
Come here, bring Lynn here. Bring her here. Bring it here.
It's already happening. Woo.
This is your
Every
word.
word that the Lord has spoken.
Come on.
Come on. It's already happening. The Lord say, sing this to you and let you know tonight that it's already happening. By the time you get home, it's already happening. He's turning around, turning around. It's already happening. I can hear the Lord sing, I've gone before you. It's already happening. Just receive, just believe. Oh yeah, it's already happening. As the word of God went forth, even though we are alive tonight, even as the woman of God was prophesying to you, I heard the Lord say, tell you, this is not something that is going to eventually come to pass. The Lord say, tell you it is happening. You are standing in the moment.
Oh, yes.
Of your moment. Woo! You're standing in the moment of your moment. And the Lord said, I brought you here tonight because I wanted you to see you. To see the you that you never could see. He said, but I brought you here to see you. You've looked at others, you sang with others, you've been supportive of others, but God said, I brought you here tonight so you can hear a crowd cheer for you. And God said, because heaven is getting ready to back you up, and you're about to walk into one of the biggest doors that you could have ever walked in just because you said yes to be here. And the Lord said, get ready, because it is already happening, says the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Woo.
Come on,
My
let's
God.
praise God.
God, we thank you. Yeah. It's already happening. Already. It's already happening. Somebody need to grab this.
Oh, yes.
Somebody need to get it in their spirit. It's happening right now. It's already happening. Every word that's been spoken prophetically tonight, it's already happening.
It's already happening.
It's not going to eventually. It's happening now, Bishop. Hey, come on.
It's already happening.
Hey. By the time you get back home,
It's already happening.
I can hear breakthrough. It's coming to you.
It's already happening.
Hey, it's already.
It's already happening.
Yeah. Woo. It's already happening.
It's already happening.
It's already happening.
It's already happening.
Oh, that's why I love this lady here. I love you both. I thank you so much for this incredible opportunity. But I just want to just put something in here tonight because I believe so much has been said. Bishop, when you open your mouth, I say, here come the word of the Lord, because we can hear the apostolic rule.
Yes.
We can hear. There is a difference between bishops and apostles. And I just want to make that
Come on.
mention of that, because a lot of times we have been trapped upon the titles because it is suitable for an audience of people. But there is an apostolic call that is so strong on your life. And God is causing, because apostles, this is the difference. All apostles are bishops, but not all bishops are apostles. Apostles have governmental authority, and they are territory takers. And God brought you here to take territories. These mantles are the ones that contend with principalities over regions and cities. You're not just building buildings and managing systems. You are now called to govern over kingdom affairs. And God just began to move y'all into place to show you just how expansive and just how huge. He's already done it. He's already shown you, even as you were speaking tonight. The building, I believe, as I was sitting there, the Lord said, you guys are a prophetic sign of this season. And so tonight, everything on here has been about what God is saying. And I heard the Lord say, tell them, I say supersize. Somebody say supersize.
Supersize.
God said, look at your dream and your vision and supersize it. Tell your dream it can't stay this size no more, because in this season, God has expanded you to a new place. And he's saying what you've looked at in last year and the year before, it can't stay at that same measure. Because he's measured out. He said, go look again. Count another 1,000 and another 1,000. And the Lord is measuring out bigness this year. It is huge. As a matter of fact, the Lord told me that this year, 2018, that it was the year of mega doors.
Come on.
He said mega doors. Now, he could have said anything, but he said mega doors. And he didn't say one door. He said doors, because the doors I saw in the spirit, I saw these big, huge gold doors. And in these doors, I saw them coming out of the heavens. And they were open, but it was open to infinity.
Come on.
And the Lord said to me, he said, what I'm releasing in this hour, he said, earth can't stop. He said, it is coming out of heaven, and it is coming so quick.
Yes, yes.
He said, I'm telling you, hear me, people of God. He said, it's coming so quick that nothing is going to break this flow.
Wow.
Nothing can break this flow. Nothing can break this that God is doing now. Your haters, come on. There's nothing no witches can do, no sorcerers can do. They can't break the momentum of what we're moving in the spirit right now. Because we're in glory days. And if I can just share this revelation for just a few moments. The Lord spoke to me 2017, the year 5777 on the Jewish calendar. The Jewish calendar meaning is so significant because we need to understand what God is saying. God is not saying this is 2018 just because we, God say start over. No, that's not what he's saying. That's not. We got to be very clear. Because I was sitting here discerning. Sometimes people hear the word of the Lord and they think, okay, this is another year. Okay, let me sow another seed. Okay, let me see what God is saying. I didn't get it last year. Let me see what I'm going to get this year. But what you need to understand on the prophetic timetable of God is that heaven is speaking. And God is saying when you came into your year 5777, it was an announcement for what was coming because the sevens were speaking. And we had 3 sevens that was lined up. And the Lord was saying to me, he said, tell them I've set them into a year of 5777, which was 2017. It was the year of the sword. And he said, I was severing and separating and cutting off entanglements. In other words, he said things that had held us captive, things that had caused themselves to be wrapped around you, entanglements, soul ties. He said, I'm severing them. And he was using a triple-edged sword. In other words, heaven had come into agreement because 3 is an indivisible number. And 3, when you start looking at the number 3, 3 says that God has the establishment of heaven isn't on this. Come on. And so heaven was speaking last year saying to us, you could not come into this new place until God severed a last season. And so he was severing off things in a prior year that could not come into where you're going. And so some of us have been frustrated and aggravated, Dr. Medina and Bishop, because we had been feeling in ourselves aggravated, frustrated. We've been trying to figure out. Some of us didn't know what we want to eat. We didn't want to go to church. We were aggravated. I'm sick of these songs. I'm sick of looking at you. We had all of those going on. But God was changing our appetites.
Come on.
God was making you get sick and tired of the small box you had put yourself in. And he was saying that if I don't make you mad with your limited life, you will never walk into the bigness that I've called you to. So he started making you get frustrated with your same little 5 friends. And these same little people you've been hanging out with. He said, why? Because I've been trying to make you move into mega.
Come on.
Why? Because this is the year that when we say his name, we're going to demonstrate his glory. They're singing, the whole earth is creation is at this place saying they have been waiting for the manifestations. The whole creation's been saying, when are the sons and daughters going to come forth? And God is saying, I've been waiting till I got you to a right season in your life that I can sever the things that I had to cut from you, that you will be mature enough to handle in the new place I was sending you, and you won't take those same folks, that same mentality into a new place.
That's right.
And so he was severing things because he had to wait till we was mature enough to handle what it was he was bringing us into now. Because some of us are so soul tightly bound to some of the last people and the last places and the things we've had in our life, we can't even comprehend what it is God is saying to us. And he's not talking about starting over.
Come on.
He's talking about a new paradigm. What is a new paradigm? I'm so glad you asked me.
Come on.
A new paradigm deals with new models.
Yes.
It deals with new structures. Come on. God is saying, I'm breaking molds. He's saying, what I'm putting in place now, that's why when you went into negotiating, he was saying, these are negotiations that's coming by way of revelation. Why? Because he's hiding things in the spirit in this season that people can't get unless they have a worship life and a life full of the word. He's saying, I'm looking for seekers. Because people who are seeking after God are really trying to hear God's heart and his voice in this hour. So he's dealing in the realms in this hour. These are extreme days of the revelatory dimensions being opened. And you're going to need to understand the prophetic.
Yes.
Why the prophetic? Because the prophetic is not just prophesying.
Come on.
The prophetic houses the mind of God.
Come on.
The prophetic is the think tank of heaven.
Yes.
The prophetic is the spiritual and supernatural dimensions. And we who say we are the people of God need to understand God's mind in every season of our life. That's how we can stay planted like this tree by the rivers of living waters, bearing fruit in every season, because we don't break thought with God. Because whenever you break thought with God, it causes you to get cast out of his presence.
Come on.
And we see that with Satan. When he broke his heart thought, what was it? Pride. And so God has brought us to this season in 2018. And I want to make sure I say this before we get off this show tonight, that God has been speaking to us about 8. And I want you to hear the revelation God gave me about 8. Because this has nothing to do with 2000 and, well, let me say this, 1978. And, you know, we got another 2008. No. We're in a new era.
Come on.
We're in a new era. We're in a day and a time where what we shall see we've never seen before.
Come on.
God has cut off your enemy. What he's done in this season is that your enemy will never be able to track you nor trace you again. Now, I want you to hear the revelation in this.
Jesus.
Hear the revelation in this. Because 8, God began to speak to me about the number 8 this year. Because when we go into the Jewish, he cut them off. When we go into the Jewish, understanding the Jewish calendar of what this year 5778 stands for, it is a word called chant. This word means, when you look it up, it means new life. It means rejuvenation. It means God is getting ready to reset. When he began to reset things, Bishop, we see it in the days of Noah.
Yes.
When God said, I'm getting ready to wipe out everything. Yes. Why? Because I'm getting ready to expand you. And everything that's been in the way of you becoming who I've called you to be, I'm going to move them out the way. And so we've been dealing with floods and fires as a prophetic sign of a reset.
Yes.
And so God says, why? Because we're in days of darkness. And so when darkness shows up, darkness, we get concerned about darkness, but darkness is really an announcement that the glory of God is about to shine. Because whenever you want to show off a rare jewel, you put it on the black cloth. Oh my God. Anytime you want to show the radiance of a diamond and how brilliant she's cut, you put it on a black screen.
That's right.
And you say, let it shine. And what we don't understand in the days of darkness that we're in now, it has been an announcement to the body of Christ. It's like your cue call. God is saying, you're up now. You're up now. You're up.
Yes.
You're up. Why? Because he said as the darkness increased, he said there was going to be a measure of glory that was going to shine forth brilliantly, that was going to draw people to your life. Jeez. And so God is about to make you become a billboard. People are coming to look for who you are this year. You don't have to go to them. They're coming to seek you out. Simply because they can see the light of God's glory shining in your life. Now hear this, what I'm saying to you with this revelation with 8. Because the Lord spoke to me and he said this to me, Bishop. He said, listen. He said, do you know that the sun rays come off the sun? The particles of the sun rays do not hit your eye until 8 minutes after it's been released. So that means that by the time you see, you are already seeing in your past. Okay, stay with me.
Oh, Jesus.
But he said that there was going to be a day that would come in these last days, that there would be an outpouring of God's glory. Now, when you start trying to measure light, they say, is 186,000 miles per minute. You can't, it runs so fast. The only thing that runs at the speed of light is blood. That's why there's life in the blood. And so when we start looking at the creativeness of God, we see in the 8 that he said, now, if you recognize the sunlight that is coming off the sun that hits your eye, that gives you 8 minutes, and you're behind, by the time you see, you're already in your past.
Jesus.
He says, now you're coming into this season of the glory.
Come on.
Where there is about to be such measure and expansion of God's release that nobody can measure it. Jesus. And it's moving at such a speed, they can't track it. And so what God is about to do is not put us behind time. He's putting us accelerated before time.
Yes.
And so what we're getting ready to do, by the time your enemy find you, when he let the children of Israel out of Egypt, by the time your enemies discover you're gone, you're going to already have your office with your view. You're going to already be living in your mansion. By the time the enemy track you and find you, you're going to be already done knocked out demons, healed the sick, and raised the dead. He's not going to be able to track you nor find you in this season because we are moving at a speed of the glory.
Yes.
That light can't even trace us in the earth.
Hallelujah. Woo. Glory to God. Prophet Cynthia.
Thompson.